All right, guys, welcome back. Today we got Sam Lens Money. Super interesting guy, always knows what's up to date with the market. He's my go-to guy. But we also have really fun, interesting conversations around entrepreneurship, our kids, AI, whatever it might be. But I've never actually really asked you, like, what got you, how did you become a lender? Like, what was the process behind that?
Sure. So, long story short, I was 20 years old, and it was like a Wolf of Wall Street moment. So, you ever see that scene where, is it Jonah Hill?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
tells Leonardo, if you show me a check for so much money, I'll quit my job right now and come work for you. And that's not exactly how it happened, but it was the same, premise. I met a guy he was a branch manager at the time. He was making really good money, and I was a broke college kid, and I just saw an opportunity for a great way of life.
Wow. So he showed you a check or showed you something, and you were just like, all right, let me go down. And you don't need schooling, no bachelor's degree, finance degree, nothing like that.
No, especially at the time. You didn't need anything. It was like let's say it was present. Like I'm in this situation right now, and it's back in '05, and I meet you, and I'm like, hey, dude, I like the way you operate. I think you'd do really good in this business.
Yeah.
You should come work with me and do loans, and like you could just start on Monday.
Like certifications, course, nothing.
It was a
Because even
lot.
in insurance, like it's a little bit of a course. You do some programs online. You gotta do your California license and registration and all that. But to be a lender, so you just you can start training under someone, and then you just
No, so that was back then. So
Oh,
then we
okay.
had the financial collapse, right? Because of all that
Yeah, I was gonna say
that lack of regulation and
loans for everybody. And
and anyone doing loans, right? Like you had a guy, with no experience, no knowledge, or you had no premise of their background, right? Like some
Yeah.
people shouldn't be in the financial industry. There's a reason why.
you got felonies, you owe
Yeah.
people money, and
Yeah.
now those are all the
Fraud.
questions you get
Yeah.
with the insurance.
So that was back then. Now, ever since the financial collapse, there's regulation, there's a licensing system, there's consumer protection laws that didn't exist during this
Gotcha.
time. So it was literally the Wild Wild West.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Because I was gonna say with life and being a broker, and then you get your financial planning certifications, and then some things are 2, 3, 4 years. Like some of the financial advisors here, financial analysis.
Sure.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I learned so much from them. I don't feel like I need it. Like if it's out of my league, I just send it to them.
Sure.
But yeah, that's why I was like, wait, you don't need anything to be a lender? Like it's kind of like just applying at a bank, and then they just train you.
That's how it was back then. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's insane.
I had like 2 weeks left in the semester, and I dropped out.
Jeez.
That was it. Yeah.
So it really was like a Wolf of Wall Street moment then. You
Yeah.
saw it and you were like, I'm out of here after this semester.
Yeah, so I went in. Long story short, he didn't show me. He kind of around about I make X to X, a month, which was like, on the top end was like probably what my father was probably bringing in annually, you know.
Dude, really? He was
Yeah.
making that much
He was making
at a local place,
Yeah.
or was he a broker? Like,
No, he was a branch manager for one of many of a non-prime, sorry, what's the word? We can't even say it anymore. Subprime lender back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't say that word anymore. But yeah, he was a branch manager. That was it. And so the way I looked at it, I was like, okay, this guy's making tons of money. He introduced me to like some sales managers that were in their 20s making crazy amounts of money, loan officers making crazy amounts of money. And my whole outlook was like, okay, I'm 20, he's 40.
yeah.
By the time I'm 30, I could be in his chair. And in a long, roundabout way, that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's insane. So, because I see that a lot of lenders go the real estate route,
Sure.
and then they become a lender because maybe they just don't want to run the appointments or things don't go through. But for you, realtors come to you, and then you got to get that money to go through. Do a little
Yeah.
some history, kind of like underwriting. That's what we do in
Sure.
insurance. We do underwriting and got to make sure they're approved.
I go to realtors.
Gotcha.
I'm going and I'm asking for business.
Gotcha.
You know, but at the end of the day, yeah, you know, when they give me an opportunity to work with their clients, then they'll bring me someone or refer someone that I can get pre-approved and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so in the last couple of years, how has the economy affected your business? Because I know some realtor, you know, I don't understand the FHAs, the SAA, like all these different things. You know, California has these programs for single moms, certain parent, like it's all over the place. I go to your Monday breakdown because I'm like, I kind of want to understand this, you know, because I do a lot of mortgage protection with life insurance. That's how we met. 'Cause I was like, hey, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
You look like you're staying super busy, and I want to protect more homeowners.
Sure.
But how is the market? Where is it at? Where do you think it's going? Like, is it as bad as some people make it seem, or this is just kind of what happens every couple of years and it comes back?
Sure. So, in my space, right? So real estate is still healthy and strong.
Yeah.
There's a lot of demand for real estate right now. It's just interest rates have made it very challenging for people to afford to buy. So you have this, like, it's really more like a phantom demand. Like, you have a lot of people that would buy if they could afford it, but rates have priced out a lot of people. You know, median income in our market's about $50,000 a household, and
which is insane in California. I don't understand that.
Correct.
I don't understand that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you know, back in 2000 and let's say 2010, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, you could still, with that level of income, buy a decent house because rates were low and the prices were recovering from the financial crash that we had. But today, you need roughly 80 to 100,000 a year.
I was going to say, it's more like your annual income has to be like 70, 80 to 2 cars, nice house, not struggling, you know, maybe have a little left over, but ugh.
Yeah, 80, you know, to really buy like a starter home, you really have to have like no debt.
Yeah. What's the average price in California for a house today? Wasn't it like 700,000, like on average? I'm like, what? Yeah. Where do these people live?
You know, it's funny, you think I would know that, but I have no clue.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I you know, for me, I'm so focused on like what's in front of me.
Those numbers. And
so like my pipeline. So like, you know, people ask me, hey Sam, what are the rates? I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I don't wake up every day and go, oh, the rates are this, because like it's relative, right? It's all subjective to like your exact situation, what loan program you're getting, how much money you're putting down, your credit score, right? So there's all these
a lot of underwriting in there. You can't just say, hey, what's that? I don't know. What's your background? Like, I don't know.
Exactly. And so like, you know, but I want to say the median house price was like $500,000 for California a few years back, and then since the pandemic, you know, we saw a lot of appreciation in housing, and I that number, if it was $200,000 more than $700,000, it would surprise me.
Yeah, because I had David in here last week, and he was saying, I mean, we were talking about crazy stuff. You know, how much we spent on the homelessness last year, $5 billion here, $1 billion there. And he said that because he's actually a real estate agent as well as a politician, and he was saying that the average cost of a home in California is like $750,000.
Wow.
I was like, that's the average?
Yeah.
I mean, my house there's $1 million houses all over the place. Sure. Most people, I would say, like everyone I talk to is like in a house between $400,000 and like $600,000.
Sure.
But I thought the average price would have been lower, but so the cost must be outrageous outside of the valley. Just
the costs are high here in the valley.
They're getting there.
I mean, you know, I think back, I just kind of I like to look at like my personal situation and my experience anecdotally. And, you know, I bought my first house in 2015 and I got it for like $292,000.
Yeah.
You know, FHA max at the time. It was, you know, quintessential starter home, 1,800 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Clovis. Yeah. And, you know, I sold it for $500,000.
Damn. I believe it though too, because I mean, I wouldn't pay for my house today. I'm like, how is it worth that? What?
Yeah. But the thing is crazy. It's like you say that, right? But then like that you'd have to if you were to, you know what I mean? Like we can't buy in the past, right? Yeah. And, you know, you have a lot of people that have been really hesitant about buying because like, oh man, the prices are too high. Okay, and they're like, well, the rates are too high. I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's true, but at the end of the day, like, rates will come down, prices won't.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care what anybody says. The sky's not falling. There's no catalyst. You had a lot of, I call them chicken littles, come out and say, oh, prices are going to reverse. Watch, we're going to see a 20% decline, and none of that has come true. And every pundit that's made those remarks have just moved on to talk about something else because they're talking heads. They talk about everything that's going on in the world, so they're surface level on everything.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you ask the experts, all the experts, said that, prices were not going to fall, and then you had, again, the talking heads saying, well, of course the real estate guys are going to tell you that because that's what, that's what they want you to hear. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, the real estate guys are the real estate guys. They're the ones that actually know about real estate.
Yeah.
So if the real estate guys are saying that, and here you are a talking head, and you don't know anything about real estate besides the simple data that you're surface level reading, it's like, then why is your opinion even relevant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're just given like their briefing that morning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, these are the rates, these are percentages, and make sure you mention this, and then they're out there talking, and then the real estate guys are like, no, that's not, and it's probably not even like a sales pitch or like, no, you need to buy now. They're like, hey, if all the real estate guys are saying the same thing, but the YouTube guy or the news guy or Dave Ramsey, whoever it is, if they're going the opposite, it's like, well, I don't think 10 or 15 of my friends are lying.
Yeah.
Maybe I should, and then the rates and everyone. Now they're like, well, now some people are like, well, I'm going to wait for the rates to drop, and I messed up because I listened to this guy. And it's like, I don't think they're trying to pitch you, man. Like, you better listen.
100%. Well, I mean, you got to look at it like this. These guys had valid points about the economy softening because of inflation, right? Mm-hmm. The cost of all things. And I understand the premise in which they were grounding their thesis as far as like, values were going to decline. But they would go look at historical data, and because they're not experts in real estate, they're experts in other things that made them rich or famous or whatever, they completely were overlooking specific catalysts that existed in our prior market crash that are just not present today. Like all the fraudulent loans that are the reason why we had these mass foreclosures. Foreclosure levels are still at historic lows. They're not going up. We're still at like 2% foreclosure, like for the entire country. That is nothing. And so, fraud is what caused the foreclosures in the past. People were, getting crappy loans.
Yeah.
Now we have very stringent underwriting. We have regulation. We have consumer protection laws. All these things that didn't exist in the past.
Yeah.
And so, and banks don't want to go out of business, right? Like, so they're not going to sit there and take on this, just irresponsible amount of risk.
Well, they're just going to print more money. They're just going to request to print some more money.
That, in a nutshell, yes. But I mean, we still have banks fail. Like like Silicon Valley Bank. There was like 4 or 5 banks that failed recently.
People just waiting outside and like, why can I get my money out? Like, hey, nobody panic. Just pull out only 20%. Nobody. It's going to be fine. And nope, lines out there. I was like, ugh, I guess we'll print more money, and then that's when the inflation hits, and then that's when interest rates start. The whole thing's just it's just a domino effect, really.
So I mean, it's a mess. But as far as like the impact on the economy on my business, the biggest thing is just the rates, right? It's priced people out. Just to kind of come full circle on that, it's priced people out. There's phantom demand. There's people that want and still need to buy.
I was gonna say, I still see people buying. I still see you posting realtors sold. I'm like, okay, not everyone's hurting, not everyone's broke right now. Some people, they say like with the stock market, when when everyone's running and I'm gonna pull my money out for the wealthy people, they're like, this is a yard sale because I'm gonna come in and just buy up everything now. So it seems like it's kind of the same thing in real estate. Some people wait. And then they do well, but I also hear that like right now it's because like you brought something up, some of these YouTubers or some of these news guys, these media guys, it's almost like they try to scare you, but they don't really know. And like you said though, there were certain things that were different back then that aren't happening now. One of the main things I just heard the other day was Patrick Bet-David. They were talking about.
That's what I'm referring to.
Oh no! Really?
Yeah, and I love him. I
Me too. But I was like, this doesn't seem right. I don't know.
He did a whole tangent on it. He did a whole podcast. No, not podcast. He talked about it all the times in his podcast. But then he did a whole special like Zoom where he's like, hey, this is all my data. Me and my team came up with why the real estate market's going to crash. I'm like, dude, you completely didn't even look at why we had a foreclosure crisis in like the catalyst, the reason why we had a crisis. Not, oh, there was a crisis. Why? You gotta get down to the root cause, right?
Yeah.
It was fraudulent loans. You had people buying houses they couldn't afford, so of course we had historic levels of foreclosure. But that has not occurred since then, first and foremost. Second, in 2009, actually in 2008 when we had the crisis, we started underbuilding. So there's a quota that needs to be met every single year because our population's growing.
Yeah.
So you have household formation occurring, and when household formation occurs, people like to buy houses. They don't like to rent apartments unless you're in the, if you're in a major city, yes, but there's only so many major cities. There's 3 in our state. You know what I mean?
Like when we had that little wood crisis for a little bit.
Correct.
Houses went up, and then within like 2 months or 3 months, they came like $80,000 down. I was like, what the hell? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Just from wood.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like you said, he's not hitting. There's so many different things that can affect.
So demand, so like we demand does not diminish, right? Because our population grows. So we have a quota that we have to make each year, and I believe it's still roughly about 1 million homes that need to be built.
The valley's growing right now too.
Everything's growing. Like it's just growing. Like look, you procreated with your wife, started a family, all this stuff, right? Same, and so like.
Grow your house. It's time to move, and then those people in the apartments, there were kids. They're looking for their starter home, and now they're going to take over.
I look at it like this. Just kind of again. I always like to look at things like macro and then micro. So anecdotally myself, I go, okay, my parents bought their first house back in like 94, 93, 94, something like that, right? It was 93, 30 years ago, and in that house they bought a 3-bedroom house. It was a family of 6. Okay. Now, I have my own house. My brother has his own house.
Yeah.
My sister's in her own place, and my brother's abroad. So at the end of the day, but he was here. You took a family that was in one house, and now they need to occupy 4 houses.
Yeah.
5 houses.
Times that by 28 million people in California.
So again, and that household formation thing. Now you have people, getting together and shacking up because they get married, they get in relationships, whatever the case might be. So that dampens it by some degree, but not to the extent in which that expansion happened. And my parents are still occupying their house, and we're occupying these other houses. So, and like you said, it's happening all across the country. So we need roughly 1 million homes, right, each year, and they were underbuilding for over a decade. So that demand for the house doesn't just go away, right? Like that deficit that's created doesn't go away. It just keeps compounding and adding on itself, and that's what happens. And so
does that make the value of everything go up too? Because there's not as much of it available.
So then, and this is the number one catalyst that Patrick Bet-David completely missed. And it's like, come on, man, like you're not a real estate guy. You shouldn't be digging into this unless you're gonna have that conversation with a real estate guy and challenge your argument with a real estate guy, so he can sit there and set the record straight on a few of those things, or reference one of those guys, or hire them on your staff. You got Valuetainment, do that. But anyways, it's simple economics.
Yeah.
It's a proven law like gravity. Like if I drop this pencil, it drops on the ground, right? And because gravity works. Supply and demand is another simple law. Yeah. So if supply outweighs demand, prices fall. If demand outweighs supply, prices increase. And so we built at a deficit. The demand has grown. The supply is incredibly limited, and there's no quick fix. You can't just build 5 million homes, 7 million homes, 10 million homes. I'm talking to some guys that are building right now, and it takes, because of bureaucracy and just how slow things work with the city and the counties, it takes a year to build a house.
That's wild.
A year. So it's like there's no simple fix. And like everybody that I talk to that's in that space that's developing, they're like, oh my God, it's like this is just it's snail pace. Yeah. So, unless that changes, there is no cure for this. So you're just going to continue to see prices increase because people need houses. And then last point on this, and this is another catalyst why real estate is strong, and again, no crash is coming. So between the ages, there's like different like age groups that they look at, right?
Yeah.
Between the ages of 29 and 35 is typically when people buy their first house. Mm-hmm. We have the largest segment, largest group of those people in the country right now than ever before.
Yeah.
There's your demand. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said before, we underbuilt for 10 years, so we have no supply.
Yeah.
So we're just going to see prices up for a long time.
Yeah, that reminds me, I was watching something else on someone's YouTube, Because China kind of seems the opposite right now.
Sure.
Have you seen all those abandoned houses or those the ghost cities in China? They built all these things, but then their population, I read something the other day that like their population, there are more adult diapers sold than baby diapers.
Correct.
And I'm like, okay, that's a real crash coming.
Well, yeah.
I don't think ours is like we're not building it fast enough. That's why with the Bet David thing, I was like, I'm confused now because I see everyone saying the opposite stuff, and then they were saying too, no one wants to sell; they want to rent. It's not a buyer's market; it's a renter's market because back then we didn't have what's the you rent out your house, the Airbnb.
Oh, sure.
We didn't have that back then.
That's easy
So,
to apply too.
Yeah.
Vacation rentals they exist in homes that could be lived in by other people.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, yeah, they get used, but like you're not replacing occupancy, right? So like when I go rent an Airbnb on the coast, I'm not leaving my property so someone else can live there, right? I'm using it like a hotel, and that eats up into the inventory for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help the supply at all.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was just, I was all kinds of confused on that podcast because I was like, is the crash coming? Is this, you know? And then you look at other countries and it looks like they really are hurting.
Well, so China, I haven't looked too deep into that, but
Ghost cities are weird.
No, sure. So from what I know, there's that whole Evergreen scandal right over there, and so again, I'm only going to talk very limited on it just because I don't have like a profound understanding of it.
Yeah, I don't know shit about it. I just thought it was crazy.
Don't care, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I know a few things with China. One, they're on the cusp of depopulation, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, they fucked up with that whole thing back in the day, choosing one child.
And so and I get it, like, you know, but they were trying to you know, make sure they had enough food and resources for their population because they were having people die of hunger and other things, right?
You got to choose one. We'd rather have soldiers and people that can work, and then 30 years catches up to you real quick.
Right? So there's an adverse effect, and now they for decades they've built a culture of small families. So nobody wants to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, right? Like they were doing before. And so
the women want to go to school. They're like, I'm not having kids.
Correct.
They're like, women in China are like, I'm not having kids.
Yeah.
Like you guys are like, they can't pay women enough to want to stay home and have a kid. They're like, no, I'm gonna go get educated, and I want a higher standard, man. It's a mess over there.
It's a mess. And so now, you know, China, they're a bunch of shitty liars. Like you know that, like the CCP or whatever you call them.
We're always catching them in their shit.
Yeah, they just. I mean, look, they censor and lie to their own population. So they're going to lie to financial institutions. They're going to lie to other government bodies.
Their numbers, everything.
Numbers and everything. And so they lie about everything.
Yeah.
They literally lie. They control a narrative for everything, and they lie about everything.
Yeah.
And
you thought our news was bad. You say something over there, and you just end up missing.
I mean, but like it's to the point where they censor things out of movies. So like movies that are played in China, like they'll watch it and they're like, nope, get that out, because they're trying to control the narrative, what people think and know in that country. Their search engines are very censored. Like it's bad. So I don't trust anything that's going on. So I think what they were trying to do is prop up their numbers, right, to look like their economy was doing better than ours. Yeah. And in that process of trying to look better than us, it's like when they say don't try to look rich, right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna go broke doing it.
Yeah, the rich people dress broke. The broke people dress rich.
You're buying the car and the watch and the house and the clothes. You got all that good shit, right? You look rich.
And Zuckerberg's walking around in ripped pants and old Vans.
But then in that process, you're spending all of your money, so you're actually poor.
Yeah.
And I think that was what was going on in China. They're building all of this stuff to make it look like, hey, we're booming. We're in a boom right now. We got real estate. We got exactly.
Come invest. Germany, Russia, come invest. But they're buying all their land up in Africa right now. So I'm like, Africa, this is weird.
South America, yeah.
Like they're getting out, but they want everyone to come in.
Sure. And then because of the way they work, like if it doesn't work out, they just take your shit, and it is what it is.
And over there
nobody holds them accountable. Nobody holds. We haven't held China accountable, but nobody holds them accountable. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Well, you hear about that huge tech company that was over at China, and something wasn't signed right, and China basically just did what they did, copied it, made their own model of it, and they were like, sorry, and they were like, no, like we're over here, we're like, yeah, but we just copied and did whatever you did, and now we have our own. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
So China.
No regulations.
No regulations. You know, but you know, China's all they are is a Xerox machine. That's it. Like they like, it's crazy because like they don't really have any innovation. Like America's still it when it comes to innovation. Like they're
just huge.
Yeah, like that
creativity.
That's the thing that holds us up over everybody in the end. Is that like
freedom and creativity.
Correct. That's it. That's the staples of this country. And so like, weird. You know, they because they've built this culture for decades again of just like, hey, let's just copy what the Americans do. They're better than us. They're better than us. Let's just copy what they're doing. Let's learn their secrets and not focusing on expanding any brilliance that they might have, you know, within their country and nurturing that. They don't have any. They just literally just copy what we do. That's it.
Well, and some people might think of, what do you mean? Like, why is that so important? Creative minds build businesses.
Correct.
China is very limited. There's not like the movies and entertainment and music and their school system. Like, why do you think, I always tell people, why do you think so many people from China come here?
Sure.
For tech and Silicon Valley, and you know, you got people making the internet in Silicon Valley taking mushrooms and shit, and we create awesome stuff. What I do want is a Huawei phone, and I'm pissed that we can't get one of those in America. That's about it, because Huawei phones are badass, but they banned them all. Yeah.
Information.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm like, dude,
spying on you for sure.
Oh yeah, like I have the new Samsung, but their old 3-year-old Huawei phone way better than this. Yeah, badass.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Got it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, China and all that stuff, are you worried about AI? Like, especially like in your business or it taking over?
Yeah, I have some concerns, you know, and I can share those. I'll say this: I read some quotes here, and I use the mess out of AI. I use it a lot. Like,
me too. And now I'm like, I hope I don't use it so much that it replaces me. It doesn't even need me.
No. I mean, so there was a quote that I read, right, and it was. I thought it was very profound. It said, don't be afraid that AI is going to replace you. Be afraid of the guy who uses AI that's going to replace you.
Kind of like knowledge is power, but only if applied.
Well, I mean, like you know, look at like how communication has changed in our and like you have people that are like, no, I don't text, I just want to get, you know, it's like, you know, I don't do that social media stuff, right?
I don't do YouTube advertisements. I just mail my flyers, and people just throw them away anyway.
It works, but it's not as efficient or as effective anymore, right?
Yeah.
So like to operate without AI today, you're not being as effective or efficient, dude. I you know, I work on like different stuff for like my marketing, drip campaigns, scripts, all of this stuff, and I'm able to crank shit out with AI.
Gives you good ideas too. Like if you're kind of stuck on something, 100%. I'll look up some tax laws. How can I use this for businesses? It'll give me some really good ideas.
You know, me and my team, we have the CRM that we're building out, and you know, we run into issues with like JavaScript or anything like that. It doesn't matter what it is, you're coding, Python, whatever. You can just ask it, and it'll give you the script to the T. It's like, oh shit, there you go, boom, plug it in, done. So it's like again, I'm not
years ahead of other companies.
Correct. I'm not afraid of AI. I'm wholeheartedly embracing it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm looking to integrate it into chat systems and things of that nature. I have some friends that are doing that already. It's difficult and it's still very early, but you know, these are things that you have to be thinking about now. Long term, am I afraid that it's going to replace a lot of things in my industry? 100%. I think underwriting within 5 to 10 years will not be humans anymore. I think it'll be all done by AI.
You just put your social security number in, and it'll just kind of, because that's what life insurance does right now. Some companies, you can just put your social in, it'll tell you in 30 seconds if you're approved or not.
Because
I'm like
because of access to medical records. So they're accessing a database of medical records, and they're using computing to make a decision.
Well, and it's bankruptcies, DUIs, felonies, it's everything, which is crazy.
Yeah, so we have decision engines in lending already. It's called DU, Desktop Underwriter.
Oh, okay.
We run it on every file. Every lender runs it. The thing is, is I'm saying like complex underwriting. Like, so calculating income, like a lot of these decision makers cannot do that yet. Right? You need something that can look at things objectively, and AI can actually do that. Like, you know, when I am writing my prompts, I just talk to AI like I would talk to anyone, any human being that I'm asking to do something for me. Because the more specific and clear you are, the more it can do its thing, and it can look at things objectively and give you options, right? And so that's where I feel like it's going to replace underwriting. I think it's going to replace a lot of what lenders do, and banks are going to have a diminished value in loan officers, and the comp that loan officers make today will be significantly different in the future. I still think they'll be around for a while, at least 5 to 10 years, but I think that banks were going to pay loan officers less because they're going to be doing less.
Yeah.
You know, and do, like, I mean, even right now, I saw
create other jobs though too. I mean,
it could, and I'm just thinking of what I can see as far as my eyes go, you know. But I do believe it's going to step in, and it's going to start eliminating people out of the assembly line, because we're just reviewing stuff and trying to catch things. And especially when you look at like quantum computing, if you get quantum computing matched up,
that shit blows my mind, dude. I can't even understand it.
If you're able to put those two things together, then like that's smarter than any human being.
Yeah.
And it can process so many things at once. It's like, why even have people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna only really have people to monitor the quantum computing and the AI. You know, Skynet.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, literally before you said that, I was starting to think of that one flying around, the Skynet robot, the one that flies around the drone that's following everyone. I'm like, bro, I couldn't think of the name. I was like, Skynet. That's what that damn thing's called. But like you said, though, if you're creative and you start using it now, I feel like you just got to kind of stay ahead of it. Like, because I'm already seeing, like, for example, with life insurance, so many new websites are coming out every day. Yeah. Different quoters, different things. You put all this information in. I'm sure there's just people in the offices monitoring it, picking up the phones, putting in your social, getting you a quote, boom, you're done. The downfall though is that those companies are they're only working with 2 or 3 companies.
Sure.
When you come to me, I'm going to show you tons of other options because I'm using it to stay creative and to work with more companies, but I'm trying to ease my burden too, like my quoters. But so I think as long as you stay ahead of it, like you said, but I'm more worried about the people coming up. I've already had a website for years. I've got contacts. I work, you know, all my quoters, my IMOs, the companies I work with, you know, I have direct access to underwriting. The people coming up, I think, are going to have a harder time because AI is catching up quickly, and they don't realize if you don't have a chatbot on your website, if you don't have direct response, if you don't have your CRM dialed in, and AI handling stuff for you, and at least getting the health and the underwriting going where you can handle a lot of stuff, you're just going to be working for a company punching numbers in, not getting paid as much, like you said. But I'm more worried about like the people coming up because they're just getting started. It's like, dude, you're already behind. You better jump on this shit quick.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I just, you know,
creativity solves everything when you think about it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, who knows what it's going to look like. I just feel like I think when it comes to a lot of the non-consumer facing stuff, right, that's going to be the last to go if it's all going to go to computers, right?
Yeah.
All the back end shit that's being, you know, the paper pusher stuff, right? Like the stuff that's being reviewed and analyzed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Making sure that files are complete. Like AI is going to be able to do all of that, right? Especially early, it's going to be able to look to see, okay, hey, do we have legible documents in digital form? Because we don't even do anything in paper anymore. Everything's in digital form. And so, do we have legible documents? Are they missing, incomplete, or cut off? No. And AI already has enough computing power to actually start doing those things now. And so then you start thinking about, okay, like let's get it more advanced. Okay, let's look at the income that's available. Let's start with just wage earners, right? Do we have what we need? Do we need to get a verification of employment from their employer? If the data's in there, it's just going to reach out. You know, Google Assistant can already make phone calls for people.
Yeah.
You know, I book reservations on Google. Yeah.
It sounds like a real person.
It's calling the damn restaurant and booking a reservation. I'm like, what the heck? And it's like, oh, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, and that part still trips me out. I'm like, I booked the reservation on here. It knows the time's there, but it's calling to confirm. I'm like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually calling them.
Have you seen the ransom calls?
I heard about
All
it.
they need,
Yeah.
all they need is 5 seconds of your voice,
Yeah.
and it will put out sentences, and it'll call your parents. Mom, help me.
Yeah.
They've got me. They want the money sent here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Google's got my voice. Everything we look at, it's literally going off right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, they've got hours and hours. Apparently, it only needs like 10 seconds of your voice.
Sure.
But if you're creative, I can use that for my CRM calling system that will follow up for me. You know, it'll sound like an assistant. Hey, Damon, this, or, you know, hey, so-and-so, I'm calling from Optimal Coverage. I just want to follow up. Can you answer these questions for me real quick? Record. Okay, Damon will reach out and we'll, you know, we'll book a time. It goes to my calendar. How does 1 o'clock work for you? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them where they pause, so it seems more like a human.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this.
Queued up. Yeah.
They already have it queued up, man. It's fucking creepy.
Yeah, no, that's real. I'll be frank. I don't answer, like, I rarely answer random calls anymore.
Yeah. Oh, my text messages, text people. I'll get people that want to quote at midnight from Texas or something.
Yeah.
And my phone's going off, and I can watch my CRM. It's texting back and forth with them because it took me hours. Like, if you see this keyword, text them this keyword this, and it took me a long time. I hired a guy on. Yeah, I hired a guy from Fiverr from like the Philippines to help me figure it out. But I'm sitting there just watching it, and I'm like, this lady's not even talking to me. She's talking to my CRM, which is insane. It's like, that's going to replace you, or it's just doubling my income because it's doing twice the work for me. Sure. You just got to stay ahead of it, though.
Sure. Well, it's efficiency, right? Like, how effective can you be? How efficient can you be with your time?
Really.
You know, I had taken a hiatus of making content, and then like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get back in this. So like, I've been going crazy, and I've been using, like, I got smarter with it, and I'm using the mess out of ChatGPT, and I'm like, oh, dude, like, I'm able to like bang out so much stuff that like it's gonna be hard for my video guy to keep up with editing because I'm ready to go. Like, I can.
Well, he's probably got an AI video editor now too, and you guys just bang out more and more and more.
Next, yeah, that's coming next.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I edit a lot of my stuff, so when I saw this new, it's like $150 for the year, and I'm actually testing it out.
Yeah.
It'll find every time you say or
Just remove it.
or you know, I'm not really. It'll go through and take it all out for you because I hate when I say and you know, all those just stupid fillers.
Sure.
It'll go through and do it for you.
Wow.
So I don't even need my guy from Fiverr anymore. I'm like, well, now he's out of a job. But if he's smart, he'll find something where he can just do 3 times as many videos.
Yeah, he'll leverage that. Yeah. So like that's one thing I want to have a conversation with my guy to see, like, you know, what tools he can use. You know, he's a good kid. He's a young guy. He's getting his business rolling.
And you got a badass setup too, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And so
I see him following you around the gym. Shots look good. You got the setup. I was like, damn, you guys are doing it big.
Dude, honestly, like I've been, you know, Hormozi had come out with this new book, $100 Million Leads.
See the gym guy?
Yeah.
And
I like that, dude. I watched this thing. I'm listening to his audiobook right now, and I bought. He gave away his whole system for free. So.
What?
Yeah, he's a G. Like, go watch the replay, and like, he did some really gangster shit. But I bought like 10 of the books. So I'll give you one. I just got a thing that's being shipped already. So
I didn't even see it. I follow him too. I never saw that. Damn it.
Yeah. So he I posted it. So I was like, hey,
dang, I must have missed it.
Yeah, all good. And so anyways, he was talking about how he ignored the power of a personal brand, and then he started seeing all of these people that technically he's smarter than, you know, and he works just as hard, he's smarter than, or feels he's smarter than, right? Like, it's all subjective, right? But he was like, dude, but they're building like $1 billion brands like instantly because they have an audience and the ability to influence. And so it got me thinking. I'm like, dude, I've been, you know, I thought just like he did, like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to do any of this shit. And secretly, I still feel that way. Like, I don't want to do any of that. But
being on video is hard, bro. When I first started doing these, my own little TikToks, and I was like, God, I look so stupid. I sound stupid. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. I'm like,
you can't, because it messes you up. You just gotta put it out there, post it. Oh, I didn't say this. Who gives a shit? You just gotta post it. You just gotta get it out there.
Yeah. Well, so like I am very concerned about, like, just it's the OCD in me. Like, I like things to come out looking really good.
Yeah.
Right. So like, that's why, like, when you see my videos, like, you know, through conversations with my video guy, the equipment that I have, the setup, like, everything is like, I'm hell bent on the quality of it. Like, that's super imperative to me. But at the end of the day, like, I've just had to, like, get out of my own way, right? And just say, hey, you know what? I don't give a shit about putting myself out there. I'm just gonna do it. I already don't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
So then about me or any of that. So it's like, all right, I'm just gonna put it out there. And then, because what I've realized is it's not about me, it's about the people that I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
And if I have any conviction in my heart that I'm the best person to help them out, me, my team, my services, what I offer, my experience, whatever it might be, then it's about them. And I'm being selfish by not putting myself out there and letting someone with less experience, less skills, and not as good take that business. It has nothing to do with that. It's everything about, you know, me believing in who I am and what I have to offer, and then wanting to make sure that I'm getting in front of that person so I can help them.
Yeah. And when you're shooting video, getting the content out there, I know what you mean about the OCD.
Yeah.
Because if I watch my video too many times, I'll delete it and repost it. Or like, I'm sure, when you first started shooting, did you make, nope, do it again. You go through it for a minute, you say something wrong, you watch it, nope, do it again. Nope, I don't like the lighting. Up, let's turn up, do it again. I became obsessed where I was like, I do 9 or 10 shoots, I didn't even post it. And I'm like, all right, this is hurting me. Just post it. And then that's where ChatGPT came in.
Yeah.
Gave me some cool ideas. It made me think, you know what? That's kind of off topic, but I can use that in this way. It really helps. It's kind of crazy, but like, you just got to put it out there. Don't read the comments, post and ghost, and just get that shit out there so people know, like, hey, this is a good time for this, or Sam said the rates are this, but if you never do it, it's like, you know.
So I started shooting content back in 2018, but I wasn't consistent. I didn't put out a lot of stuff because I was so self-conscious about putting out content. So the biggest hesitation I have for the longest time is like an imposter syndrome thing. It's like, I don't want to, like, I feel like there's so many people that know more, right? And
On the side, I know exactly what you're talking about.
and you know, but like, I felt that way. I don't feel like, I feel at this point, like, through personal development, self-development, my experience and hard work, like, I feel like I do have a lot to offer. But in the beginning, I didn't. I felt like a little bit of an imposter. And I think that's why I struggled to put content out, and I was hypercritical of it, because I was thinking, okay, well, I don't know that much, right? But what it did do, and I have a ton, I have like a hard drive full of shit, or I'm sorry, it's on my Google Drive, but like, what it did do is it helped me kind of like critique myself in front of the camera. So like now, it's very like, I get all my shit set up, and it's like, boom, and we can just bang shit out.
Yeah.
And I rarely, you know, minus stumbling over my words every here and there, like, I really need to like reshoot. Like, it's like, boom, done.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even got to look at it because I already know it's good. And it's like, and then it's on to the next thing. And so like, that's helped out a lot. But like, I think like anything, you got to get experience in front of the camera. You got to watch yourself, and you got to critique yourself, right? Like, you know, and then from there, once you have that confidence, and you can just rip.
And you know, what's funny is that I started actually doing a couple videos at a time, and then putting them out. Because once you start flowing, you start remembering things. You're talking to yourself. You're talking to the camera.
Sure.
I'm talking about bonus plans and different codes, IRS codes. And in the middle of that video, I actually will have to stop and write a little sticky note, and then keep doing it, edit that part out, because I'm like, oh, you know what? That's a good transition into this, or that's a good transition in for investors, how to be their own bank. And then once you start going, you're like, damn, I'm just flowing. I got 5 videos. Send it to someone, edit it, because if I watch it too many times, I'll be like, I don't like the way I look. Just go. Just do it before I change my mind. But the imposter thing is, I totally get that, because, I mean, I'm in an office with financial analysis and financial advisors. I'm just an insurance broker at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I know a ton about IRS codes and ways to move your taxes and all that stuff around, how to protect your assets, and all the California regulations and estate planning. I'm not licensed for it,
Sure.
but being around it. So when I post videos, I always feel like, should I be posting that? Now I'm talking about taxes.
Sure.
Now I'm talking about infinite banking but when I talk to other people, I'm like, oh, you know what? The guys here always say, they're like, damn, you know a lot more than you think you do.
Yeah.
Even if I talk to other financial advisors or people comment on my TikTok stuff, other finance guys, you just got to ignore it because everyone's either got an opinion or they'll say something that's not right.
Sure.
And it's, that imposter thing, though, I get it. But it's like, I'm helping someone. I just have to get over my own shit and put it out there because someone's going to see this and go, I didn't even know I could do that. You can roll this over for me, Damon, or I can do this with your time. Yeah, you can. But if you never post it, you're not helping yourself. You're not helping anybody. But yeah, the details, the pickiness, I get it because we talked about that when we first met.
Yeah.
When we first met, we were literally both like, hey, man, did you make a video this week? We pick up our kids. Yeah. Nah, man, no video this week. I'm like, yeah, me neither. Yeah. Next time I see you, bro, I'm going to have 2 put out. Yeah, me too. I'm going to have 2 put out. I'm going to buy all this stuff. I bought all the cameras. You bought all the cameras. Yeah. Next Thursday, I just haven't got to it yet. And I'm like, even though I did shoot 2 or 3, I just didn't like them. And then I started seeing more of your stuff roll out, and that actually made me go, Sam's putting shit out this week. I need to put shit out this week because we talked about it all the time. Just never did it.
I before because I committed to it, but like I wanted to kind of like put additional pressure on myself. Mm-hmm. So I made a quick little video, and in the description I just kind of said, hey, like I'm back. Like,
oh, now you have to. It's like saying, oh, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. Now everyone's watching you.
Yeah.
Now you have to.
And not just that, I said, hey, hold me accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, if you don't...
Sam, where's the rates, bro? I don't know the rates, man. Yeah. Where's Monday video?
If you don't see me putting out content, I said, say something. You know what I mean? But, like the thing is, too, is, like, again, getting more efficient, leveraging AI, that's helping me out a lot. Getting a schedule for how I go and create the content and when I shoot, like nailing those things down so it just becomes part of my schedule.
Yeah.
And then portfolioing, like just building or stockpiling. So like I'm not shooting 1 video typically, I'm shooting like 5.
You have to.
Yeah.
Gotta get that flow moment.
Yeah. So like I've already shot 5 this week. And then I'm ready to shoot another 5. So I'm gonna shoot 10 this week. Yeah, but I'm only gonna release 3.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably shoot another 10 plus. I might do like 20 next week, like something crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be texting you, bro. Hey, man, I haven't seen any.
Oh no, trust me. Like, I got shit banked, and like not just that, but like it keeps stuff in front of my video guy. So like now he's not waiting on me.
Yeah.
Because he's got so much shit in his pipeline to edit, and then 2, like my goal is to get like a month ahead of it. So that way, like, if I take a vacation or whatever the case might be,
keep that algorithm going, keep your videos pumping out.
Correct. Because like I even noticed it already. Like I've already, like, as soon as I started putting content, my like followers started growing instantly. Instantly, and it's like, okay, like I already know, like in 4 weeks when the algorithm knows, okay, this guy is constantly adding, putting content out there, is getting good engagement, like it's going to increase only more. So it's just like, just got to be consistent,
Yeah. And that's funny because I follow Gary Vee a lot.
Yeah.
He actually pumped, like right before me and you met, started hanging out, I was already thinking about content. And I haven't posted twice a day in a while, but I did start posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram. Same video. I copy all the what I'm going to say, hashtags, and then I post on every single one.
Got it.
And I'm trying to do that twice a day. I just haven't found the time, but it is an algorithm thing. And I actually used ChatGPT to kind of explain it to me, and I wanted it in bullet point, and how it works. And I can't remember. I actually bought a program that teaches you how to talk to ChatGPT, how to use the right prompts. and there's like 1,000 different ones. And if
How
you
does anybody fucking know that it came out in November of last year, and I was one of the first people to sign up. I signed up in November of 2022.
Yeah.
It's like, how can someone write a book on how to talk to ChatGPT? It's like, how are you an expert in under 12 months?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
God bless him for writing the book.
Yeah.
And they probably use ChatGPT to write the fucking book.
exactly. Well, so now that you've mentioned it, it's gonna start popping up on your Instagram. Watch.
Good.
I was on Instagram. Learn 1,000 prompts from ChatGPT. For you click it. The beginning, the starter one is $37.
Yeah.
The advanced one is $78. I was like, let's do it. Bought it. Some of it's kind of fluff, but this one that I bought, there's actually a lot of good prompts. There's you can tell ChatGPT, I can't remember now. You can tell it to break it down in different ways. Show me a graph, comparisons. Can you explain further? Like if you just tell it little things, it'll do it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. So I've really used that because it's not easy to make 2 videos a day. One in the afternoon, one in the evening, so that Instagram picks up on that algorithm. You have to use ChatGPT or something because I'm kind of talking about the same thing all the time, different angles. It's like, how many more angles can I hit this at? But I have seen my Google My Business went up. The more I posted just little things on there, getting those reviews, keywords, I told ChatGPT, explain how this works. You want people to put the keywords of what you sell in your reviews. I was like, didn't know that. It works. Instagram, I started posting every day at the same time. I started getting so many messages. Give me quotes. Can you look at this? Hey, we're setting this up for our business. I was like, dude, I got to stay on this. And then I got so busy that I stopped posting. I didn't have time to shoot. All morning, running quotes, talking to people, driving out of town.
So why'd you hire an
So,
assistant?
Huh?
You gotta hire an assistant.
I need to hire an assistant, but they don't know how to. I'm still I need to hire an assistant to process the paperwork for me. That's a little bit of a learning curve, but
Shoot video on it, right? Breaking it down, like, and don't start with like the whole thing. It's like, hey, if they can save you, if you're looking at, 10 files a week,
Yeah.
right? And they can save you 30 minutes in each file by just doing a few simple things,
Yeah.
right? Shoot, videos on how to do that, and then have them watch that and follow that to the T, and you're
Yeah.
good to go. Yeah.
yeah. And when I got really busy, I was like really busy for a week, and the next week kind of back off a little bit, really busy for a week. So at one point I was like, I need to hire an assistant because now I'm writing policies and now I'm looking over people's tax return. Now I'm doing this till midnight. It's like,
Sure.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
But there is this fine line I need to figure out because the more I posted videos,
Yeah.
more the just clients rolling in, taxes, how do I deduct this? It was insane.
Got it.
So, but now I need to use it to train someone to put those through for me.
Sure.
So speaking of AI taking over,
Uh-huh.
the limited jobs or the jobs there might be more jobs in the future.
Sure.
Are you worried about your kids' future with AI or anything like that?
No, because I mean, I think about like my parents, right? Like, my parents are, they were born in the '60s, right? And I look at what technology's done in my lifetime,
Yeah.
right? Like, I remember when the TV turned off. Like, there was no more. Now it's like there's so much content out there. It's like it's never off, right? Like. And when I mean the TV turns off, because some people are not going to understand that, like, literally, like, the TV channel would be like, hey, and that's it for us tonight, we're done. And, like, they would, like, all pack up, go home, and they didn't have this, like, running thing of just videos constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
You go lay in bed, now you're on your phone.
Yeah,
now you're
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And so, the VCR, and, like, now, I grew up on VCR, and for the longest time, that was like a large part of my life. It was all VCR, and
And if you try sneaking in a movie at 1 a.m. to watch something, your parents are gonna hear it because it's loud as shit. They can hear it.
trying to wind it or whatever.
Yeah,
Gosh,
you're going in and the thing shuts and you're like, fuck, I gotta run back to bed.
Yeah, and so, like, and my kids, they're just watching shit on their iPad. It's just like all streaming. They have access to everything at all times. So, our kids are, like, my daughter is 8, right? And, like, she's gonna grow up using AI in high school.
Yeah.
It's not even going to be like something she has to think about.
Well, they're already saying that they might start taking big tests at school in front of the teacher. Like, you can't take your essay home anymore because ChatGPT is going to write it for you. Sure. Like, they're already saying, like, for elementary school, for middle school, essays, tests, you got to do it here in front of someone, or because they're like, yeah, it's nuts. I just read that the other day, and I was like, fuck, how do you take a test or do because if I was in high school right now, I'd go home, hey, write me an essay on electricity, make it a little bit funny, don't be too smart, don't use big words. Like, you could tell write it like an 8th grader would with a little bit of grammar mistakes.
Sure.
It'll do it. You bring it to the teacher, here's your essay, they can't tell.
Yeah.
Everything's changing, man. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, they're doing in college, all their papers being written that way.
Yeah.
The thing is with artificial intelligence, you could plug in a math equation on your homework. Like, you're not going to have to do, you know what I mean? Like, it'll answer anything. Where Google didn't have that, right? We grew up with Google. I think the way, and again, this is way out of my purview as far as like my pay grade and understanding of life and stuff, but they're going to have to come up with a different form of education.
Are they going to have a camera watch you at home do your homework now? Because I'm like, how do you...
I don't think it's about monitoring to make sure you do things the old way. I think the educational system is going to have to evolve. Because I don't think they can sit there and say with the way things are going with technology, like you're like, okay, was it...
Which could be a good thing if the education system evolves. I mean, it might...
Who's the guy Ford? Henry Ford.
Uh-huh.
Okay. When he was, a gajillionaire and very successful, they wanted to like challenge him on the public court about his intelligence because they were like, oh, you're not very smart.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, and I might be botching this, I'm paraphrasing the whole story here, but in my own words, but nonetheless, they were like, they wanted to challenge his intelligence and ask him a bunch of like meaningless questions in front of like the public square and stuff. And he goes, look, I don't need to know all these silly, like, I don't need to fill my head with like all of this like silly information that's like worthless to me. He goes, I got a button on my desk I press and it brings me the person that can answer that question for me.
Yeah.
And that's what AI is. It's the single button that we all can press and get that information.
Right? We are just creative.
Correct. And so I think the way that we approach education is going to have to change. Not like we have to sit there and keep squeezing us into this box of like, everyone has to, we got to watch what you're doing and make sure that you're writing it. Maybe they don't write essays. Maybe that's worthless. I mean, how many essays are you writing?
That's a good point.
Shit anymore. AI's writing all my shit for me, right? I need to be able to read. I need to be able to have the ability to write. But like the actual likelihood moving forward that I actually write anything long form is probably slim to none. And even one day, I'd love to be
learn to code. Learn to code. When they were telling all those truckers, learn to code.
Yeah, I'd love to be of significance enough one day to write a book that would be worth reading, right? So when that time comes, I'm probably gonna get in front of a microphone like this, tell my story, and it's gonna write the fucking book for me.
Which is insane because look at what was that Drake song that just came out the other day? The AI wrote.
Oh yeah, insane.
That shit was a hitter. I bet you Drake was going, fuck, I should have wrote that. That's dude. And
maybe he's using ChatGPT now for his lyrics.
Dude, I'm telling you, but if someone gets to ChatGPT and somehow does some copyright thing, like someone's gonna jump on that. Watch.
Sure.
It's like, who was the first guy? Who was the guy that he did all the the crazy voice? Was it T-Pain? Was he the first one to do all that?
Pretty much. You're talking about the auto-tune?
Auto-tune.
Yeah.
I mean, look how many people took that, and it's completely different now.
Sure.
Auto-tune started with T-Pain, and now they use it in other ways. And people, I mean, there's a whole industry of these kids that just program auto-tune, and they can, they get hired by these rappers, and they're like making $1 million a year now, just doing this because I'm an expert in that. And that reminds me of school.
Sure.
There might not be the same classes or the same jobs that are available later. I mean, look at these kids that are making money from video games.
Sure.
That shit's wild to me. And they're making money.
You know, you know, this is a tangent. I won't rip down right now, but you know, I had read something that I can't remember the exact person at the moment, but they helped like create the educational system, the formal educational system that we're part of today.
I think it was the Rockefellers.
It was designed to entrap us.
Yeah.
Because it was an excellent way for the rich that were already rich to stay rich, because these individuals, a lot of them, some of them didn't finish grade school. They were just creative, like you said, and they were brilliant and they worked hard. And so, you know, I think that, like, for me personally, like, you know, the conversation that I had with my daughter when she entered kindergarten, I told her I expect straight A's.
Yeah.
And my son, he just entered kindergarten, so did yours.
Yeah.
And I told my son the other night, I said, Samuel, I expect you to get straight A's.
I think our kids are the only kids at their schools with skin fades. Yeah. And I'm super proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say my son was the flyest.
Our kids were looking clean.
Yeah, in his class for sure, his kindergarten class. I was like, oh yeah, like my son absolutely got 600.
They go to different schools now, but when Kane's, I was watching your stuff. Kane had the white Air Force Ones. He had his blue Fender shirt. He's got, dude, so many kids came up to him. Oh my God. He was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh yeah, feel my hair, you know, because he likes the way it feels with me and him. I mean, I need a haircut, but he loves the skin fade now. Yeah. And then of course I go to yours, and Sam, you know, he's spinning in his barber chair. You know those videos you do of him, and he's just like, oh. And I was like, dude, I think we have the only kids at our schools that have skin fades.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Clean.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I don't know. Like, I grew up poor. We didn't have shit. My dad cut my hair for a while. You know what I mean? So like, he's not a barber, so you can already imagine. And you know, like, there's just certain things, like, now I want my kids to experience, you know, that I didn't get to, you know, and so and I'm pretty sure you're the same way.
Yeah. Well, back real quick to so 1902, John D. Rockefeller created the General Education Board at the ultimate cost of $129 million. Yeah. Now, off that subject real quick, I actually read too that they had a huge influence on the medical education.
Correct.
So doctors that wanted to, I don't know, cure cancer, or maybe they had a different way that they wanted to teach, or things came out. Rockefellers have a huge influence on the pharmaceuticals companies and the medical education. That's a whole different rabbit hole, but
100%. I mean, like let's just, you know, you want to go down rabbit holes.
Talking about they need to change the education system.
All of it. I mean, I question everything. I mean, so, you know, electric cars existed in the early 1900s?
Yeah, it was crazy. They had the first Ford was like in one of those old 1900, had a crank. It was a battery.
Yeah.
Who killed all that?
Everything was crank start back then. There was no electric starter. So everything, those cranks were to actually start the engine, and then you hop in.
But some of them were battery, like they were copper wired, like their motor just looked like 1,000 copper wire, looked like a huge battery, looked like the thing that Tesla created.
Yeah. When we had the Model T, we had electric vehicles already. The oil industry stepped in.
Don't make money down batteries.
Bosch on that. Yeah. Right? And for the same reason why we don't have good public transit, because the car industry was like, hey, this is not good for the sales of cars. If you have a very efficient public system, people aren't going to buy cars. Mm-hmm. The way that our suburbs and our cities were designed were to start spreading us out, so we needed more cars. Like, they're all intertwined, and, you know, you start questioning, like, okay, like, why is this and why is that? And it's like, oh, it was all because of money. And then so it's like, if that was a trick that was played back then it's no different today. You know, I don't want to get into tangents of like the pandemic and shit, but like, you know,
that's a deep rabbit hole. That's for another time.
100%.
This show is called The Arcane Room, bro. We can go deep.
Okay. but the long and the short of it is, you know, they wanted us to take this vaccine so we could, for what? So they could make a lot of money.
They made trillions, dude. They said that they were making $1 million like every minute.
Yeah, something stupid. So it's like that play of it being about money has always been the case, and then government systems and entities and politicians, they all step in line to move forward that agenda based on, you know, these big corporations that are actually like building out everything, even down to the food pyramid. You know the food pyramid, if you look at it, like,
It's like the worst shit that everyone's allergic to.
Carbohydrates is the base
Gluten?
of our- gluten, yeah. And it's like that is the base of our of what we're supposed to be eating according to, you know, and
It's right next to dessert. It's like, what the hell?
Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're supposed to eat bread all day. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'll look like a loaf of bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, it's terrible.
It's like it's above fruit and vegetables. I'm like, what is happening right now? Meat,
Yeah, it is the base. Like, you need to, this needs to be most of your diet. And it's like,
you need 3 cups of rice a day. I'm like, what the? Who eats 3 cups? Like,
and you literally need to flip that shit upside down. Literally. It's like insane.
all the fats are at the top and they need to be at the bottom. Fats and protein, but it's wild.
Yeah, so, you know, I question everything nowadays because like the truth is coming out on a lot of shit that because of technology, that things we have access to, the people's ability to, you know, create platforms like this where you can talk freely so that people that were involved in those things can actually speak out and say something, and it's not just being, you know, stifled by the powers that be that actually get to broadcast everything out to everyone. Like, you know, it's just different.
Well, that's how it was. Well, I guess you could say the same thing now. Back then, 5 stations. Way back then. Like, way back then. Some people are like watching this like, what are you talking about, 5 stations? We found my dad's old TV in my grandparents' old storage before they passed away. Bro, it went click, 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 click. That was it.
Yeah.
And so, and nowadays, you could also say all these news corporations are owned by 4 main companies, right? And so, like you were saying with the school or with the battery, did you know that J.P. Morgan is actually the reason why? From what I've read, he's the main reason why the battery and Tesla did not do well. It didn't happen because he had already invested so much money into copper, into oil.
You're talking about the OG Tesla, like.
Yeah, like Nikola.
Yeah.
Like Nikola Tesla. He had the battery. He had all this stuff, free energy. Apparently, he had these battery units that would go on the back of New York buildings. And you hook up this battery unit to the whole building, you have electricity and heat the water, and it would heat everything. J.P. Morgan had already invested too much. Like you said, the roads were built a certain way.
Yeah.
J.P. Morgan had already invested too much money in oil, and oil makes gas and all that. Tires. It was something with copper, wood, just all these things. J.P. Morgan, like there's like it was on Google somewhere. There's like an old newspaper from New York, and they would show electricity like killing dogs in the street to freak people out, and that's what buried Nikola Tesla. And then he wasn't good with paperwork because, like you said, I don't care about this. I don't care about this. He wasn't good with paperwork. He didn't have a lawyer. He just knew what he knew, but he didn't sign things correctly, and they took all his shit. They took all his patents, and they said when he died, shit was his apartment, his storage just emptied.
Wow.
And so that's the only thing that kind of worries me today. Like right now, yeah, we have freedom of speech. We can talk about this stuff. Someone's going to watch this and go, there was an electric car battery in the 1900s? Bro, there was little miniature flying cars back in the 1900s. Like, they had some crazy shit. But how long until Spotify or Apple go, you actually can't say that anymore? You know? Because YouTube's doing it. YouTube, if you say something on YouTube, demonetized. We don't like that.
Sure, but YouTube is also, you know, they're part of Google, and Google is, you know, part of that.
Just that whole system. And did you know that the sister, the lady, one of the creators of YouTube, her sister started 23andMe.
Really?
And then her husband, some other owned some huge thing. I was like, so they got our data? They're tracking our health, our DNA? I was like, that's some creepy shit. And they're connected to Google like through a cousin or something. I was like, oh my God.
I never did that shit. I was like, look, my dad's from Nigeria. So I was like, that thing's probably like pretty pure, like 99.9% Nigerian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could care less what other, you know, African descendants I'm from, you know. And then my mom's side is like so mixed. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm here, I'm healthy. I don't even care. I'm not giving people my DNA. That shit got sold to like BlackRock.
Yeah. It's wild, bro. Well, like I was telling someone, I sold health insurance for like a couple months and I was over it. I was like, bro, this is way too much. That industry is just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Life insurance, those industries really help people.
Sure.
You know, they got to make their money too, but the life insurance companies, they just seem to actually do a lot of good, because what I started learning from the health insurance companies is everyone says, big banks, big pharma, and I say it's really big insurance, because nobody makes a move, nobody makes a medicine. Health insurance doesn't approve certain surgeries unless the insurance companies from the top, they say, we'll approve this, we'll pay for this. Yes, we'll accept that, and you can make your money off of your medication,
Sure.
right? So I'm like, big pharma, big bank. I'm like, big insurance is right there. At least with the health side, the life insurance, no one really messes with. They cover you for this, they cover you for that. They pay out your money tax free. That's about it.
Yeah.
But the thing I started going down a rabbit hole one day with was, so if the people who own or created YouTube are also related to the people who own 23andMe, I wonder if there's a connection with the health insurance in the future, because this watch is telling you about how I sleep. It's telling you if I have a heart rhythm, a heart arrhythmia. It's telling you everything. 23andMe is now telling you, oh, I might have a genetic disposal to this disease, or oh, you're allergic to this, or I found out the reason why I get tired, cold and clammy even in the summer. I have an iron deficiency, a genetic iron deficiency, and it tells you why. And the Czechoslovakians are known for this. And I was like, damn, that's pretty cool that we know all this. But then I realized, I read this book, and data is going to be the new gold one day.
It already is.
Data is gold. What you buy, what you research. I was looking at something. I heard this one guy say that, yes, your phone is listening to you, but some of the stuff that you go to, I never even said that. Like, Sam, I was going to buy a new bow because I want to go, I want to start shooting bows, right? Mm-hmm. But I never said it. I never looked it up on Amazon, nothing, right? I was just thinking it. This AI, these robots are so good, they can predict your habits and start showing you shit that you might be interested in later. It's predicting things now.
That's crazy.
So if you bought some 511 boots, and now you're buying camping gear, and now you're buying, I just bought a gun, I bought all these things. I'm
following. Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a fishing pole. It's going to go, hey, you want a bow? I was just thinking, they know you better than you know yourself now for just selling you stuff.
Sure.
Imagine what the health information and genetics, imagine what that database is going to look like one day.
Oh, yeah.
It's good, we would get you insurance, and this and that, but, your genetics and
the predisposition for this and this.
Bro, that's the shit that scares that stuff scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
That's the weird stuff. That's the weird stuff that I worry about for our kids.
Sure.
I'm like, damn, should I have not done that 23andMe? It's helped me out. It's pretty cool, but should I have not done that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, because at the end of the day, it's I don't know, for them to try to use that against you, they probably could, know? Who knows?
Yeah. They definitely could, but that's why I like talking to you about the market. You're pretty open-minded to all this stuff happening in the future, banking, inflation, Tesla, whatever it might be, the school system, and what we need to have our kids doing right now. You're one of the few friends I have that really are going to stay ahead of it. But and definitely follow Sam. What's your Instagram? What are your channels?
Everything is at Sam Lens Money. You can find me on anything at Sam Lens Money.
Yeah. Sam Lens Money. Lens. It's not spelled with a backwards 3 or not, just Sam Lens Money to find you.
Yep.
Awesome, man.
I put people in debt. That's what I do.
Well, that's why we met, because I come along and then I want to get them life insurance coverage, because now they've got this humongous $500,000 debt, and they need to protect themselves. So
100%.
you keep me in business.
Amen.
Right on, man. Well, yeah, man, we'll have to do this again pretty soon.
Yeah, look forward to
I want these.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, man. Yeah, thanks for coming on. But yeah, find Sam at Sam Lens Money on everything.
Everything.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. We're out.